In this section of this course, we are going to talk about rewards and penalty. Rewards and penalty form the basics of game theory, and we are going to look at how game theory is applied in the blockchain in this particular section of this course. But being a volunteer sounds like a very, difficult task now, right? They have to validate the blocks, they have to create the block, all of these stuff they are doing. But even then, whoever comes first only will get, their block added to the blockchain. Sounds like a very complex task to do, difficult task to do. Why should there be volunteers, right? That's the next problem. Why should someone, why should this person be a volunteer? Doing this kind of a difficult task and everything, right? This is where we get into the concept of game theory. Okay. The game theory is a process by which you import, let's say, rewards and penalty into the system. Okay. So rewards and penalty is not new to us. All of us would have faced this issue of rewards and penalty. Okay. It's a positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement kind of a structure, where if you're studying in college, okay, there are two types of making you study. Okay, one is your parent tells you that if you get first rank, right, if you get more than 90%, then I'll buy you a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler or whatever, right? So if you get this, if you do something right, you will be rewarded, right? First concept. Second is giving a penalty, right? If you don't study well, I'm going to cut your pocket money. That's a penalty, right? So either of these cases, you start studying well, right? That's the concept of game theory. Game theory has been used by marketers all around the world for a long time now in assessing consumer behavior and a lot of stuff, right? It is used in market research where they show you a particular ad and say, if you buy this, you get a 20% discount. That's a positive reinforcement, reward they are giving you. Or penalty also is seen. If you don't wear a mask, you will get this disease. If you don't, let's say, do something, then you'll probably end up in a hospital, something like that, right? If you don't wear helmet, you'll be fined, right? So that kind of rewards and penalties is what game theory is all about. Okay. Now, if you remember from the crypto economics, right, game theory was also one of the components of blockchain, right? So what Satoshi Nakamoto did was introduce rewards and penalty for these volunteers. Okay. So he told, why should this person be a volunteer and race with the other person to create the block? Because we are giving them a reward. Okay. Let's say for creating a block, okay, for validating the transactions and creating an actual block, I'm going to pay you money. Okay, something in the range of, let's say, $50,000. Okay, sounds good, right? You would want that reward. So why are these volunteers wanting to be volunteers, right? And they want to do the difficult process of validating and all because they want this reward, right? Currently, at this point in time, at the point of recording, right, the reward is 6 bitcoins or 6.25 bitcoins. One bitcoin is $9,000, right? So it comes to around $55,000, right? So that's a huge amount. For each and every block, they have the opportunity to get $50,000, which means these people would want to become volunteers, right? Why am I saying this is a monetary reward? Because when we give Bitcoin to them, that is actual money, right? So that's why this is a monetary reward that we are giving to the miners. Okay. The problem of why they want to become volunteers is solved now, right? So if you look at it, we have come a long way from the traditional banking system till here, right? We eliminated the bank, we made it a distributed system, we introduced the concept of digital signatures, then we introduced the concept of transaction pools for transaction sequencing. Then we saw, oh my god, then there will be multiple blocks, right? So we solved the problem by bringing in volunteers, okay? But even then there will be multiple blocks. So we told whoever comes first only, I will accept the block. Others don't get it. Okay, then it is difficult. Why would someone be a volunteer? Because we give them monetary rewards. So step by step, we are analyzing the problem and giving a solution to each of that, right? Now, let's get into the next problem. The next problem comes with these volunteers, right? These particular volunteers being hackers, or they want to tamper a transaction, right? Tampering a transaction is nothing but, let's say, one transaction says B or Raghu sends John $5. Okay, this transaction comes into the transaction pool, right? And this person, the volunteer, right? Whenever they take the transaction from the transaction pool and add it inside the block, they change it as Raghu sent John $50, right? From $5 to $50, they can tamper the transaction. Why do they want to do that? Probably he's the Joker in Dark Knight, right? He just wants chaos in the system, or he will gain something by that, right? Who knows, right? There are multiple reasons why a person might act as a hacker, right? How do you solve this is the question, right? What if the miner is a hacker, or he wants to tamper or confuse the system by changing the transaction and all of these things, right? This is where we introduce a penalty to these hackers. Okay, reward already came in. If they do well, they are getting a reward. How much is the reward? Around $50,000 they are getting, right? Now, if you do something bad, I'm going to penalize you. That's why I told game theory where reward and penalty both are there. It will be combined and they'll get both reward and penalty in the system. Okay, so they will work. If they do well, if they validate the transaction properly, they'll get the money, right? If they don't do well, they need something to lose, right? That is not there now. In this system, if you consider, right, if this person changes the transaction and submits it, so um, it's like saying, let's say, tie your hair and pull a mountain. Okay, if it comes, good enough for you. If it goes, you are only losing the hair, right? It doesn't value anything. Same way, these people will think, okay, let me change the transaction and give the block to someone. Okay, if they accept, good for me. I'll get this money. If they don't accept, what am I losing? Nothing, right? Zero. Yeah, they don't have anything to lose, right? That's why we are saying give them something to lose in the form of penalty. Okay, perfect. What is the penalty is what we are going to see next. Okay, fine. The problem why a miner would even think about doing some tampering or hacking work in the system is because he doesn't have anything to lose. We told, right? Let's consider a room full of people. Okay, these four customers are sitting inside the room. Okay, and there is a transaction pool. All the concepts that we saw till now really applies to that. Okay, fine. Now I'm saying instead of taking transaction from the transaction pool, creating a block and directly giving me, I'm going to ask you to do some work. Okay, this work, let's say in the physical situation, just for your understanding, right? I'm telling them, hey, it is not enough for you to just take the transaction from transaction pool, validate all the transactions, create a block and give me, right? That's not enough. Okay, you have to take the block and go run. Okay, run for 5 kilometers or 5 miles, whichever part of the world you are, right? Run for so much, and whoever comes first from the running race, that only I will accept. Okay, so you all, let's say there are 4 miners or 4 volunteers, they are all creating this block. Okay, then they start running 5 kilometers, they will run. Okay, come back, whoever comes back from the race, I will get the block, right? Okay, what is the advantage of doing that is because previously the volunteer did not have anything to lose if they do a tampering of the transaction, right? Now they have a lot of things to lose. They ran for 5 kilometers, so they would have spent some energy in running for 5 kilometers, right? That is the penalty that I'm giving them. They fear that if I'm running for 5 kilometers, only if I run very fast and come first, they will accept my block itself, right? So after running for so much, after doing so much of things, if they don't accept my block, right? If they find out that I have tampered the transaction, I won't get the reward, but I'll also, the entire running of 5 kilometers, spending so much of energy and sweat and everything will go waste. That is the penalty for these volunteers, right? So by asking them to do some work before giving the block, I am avoiding the vulnerability of they being hackers or tamperers, right? They fear losing their spent energy, right? Now you understand that in a physical setting you can ask them to run for 5 kilometers. What happens in a digital blockchain kind of a structure, we'll see sometime later. But if you understand this concept of reward and penalty, you understood most of the blockchain things, right? So there is something to lose for the miners or volunteers, right? Now think about it. Okay, this is the same concept used in email spamming also, right? So what happens is, if you are a spammer, what you will do, you will take 50,000 or 500,000 mail IDs, okay, and you send bulk mails to everyone. Spam mails are always bulk, right? So you start sending those spam mails. How do you stop that from happening? Let's say before sending any mail, okay, before sending each mail, you have to solve a problem. You have to, let's say, do a captcha verification, or you have to do 5 plus 2 equal to what? That kind of verification is there for us also, right, in many websites. So let's say I am telling the spammer, hey, you cannot keep sending bulk mails just like that. Before each mail goes out, you have to fill the captcha, right? Can the spammer do 500,000 captchas in a day? Not possible, right? So that reduces the spamming itself. Okay, before every mail, if he has to do this captcha, they'll probably be able to send, let's say, 50 or maximum 500 mails a day. That's all, right? So that's how I'm stopping this spamming from happening. Same way here, I'm saying before giving before submitting the block, go do some work for me, right? That will stop you from spamming the system, which also means tampering the transactions, right? Hope you have got this penalty structure.